Hello everybody, hope everybody's doing great today. Appreciate those of you who watched this video. I hope you enjoy it. Also appreciate those of you who have subscribed. Thank you very much. Got high quality videos here, right? Not really. But anyways, let's jump into Judgment Night starring Emilio Estevez. I gotta say, as a 12-year-old, this movie scared me pretty good, right? As an adult, it still makes me a little nervous. It's like a cautionary tale, really. And as a kid, it kind of scared me because, somebody at that age who really wanted to go to New York, Los Angeles, those big cities like that. In this one, you got these guys who are in a big city. Is that New York? I can't remember. I think it might be New York City. It could be Chicago. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. Anyways, they're trying to take like a shortcut to get to this boxing match and end up in a bad side of town. And then they witness a murder. And you got these guys chasing them, trying to kill them. As a kid, this is like realistic stuff. Sometimes if you don't really know the area, you get yourself lost in some shady parts of these large cities. And, where the crime is high and the police count is low. Back then we didn't have our little telephones to have maps on there. We just had to go by what people told us in the directions, right, to get there. So it's really possible to get lost in these bad side of towns. So let's get into this movie. So it has Dennis Leary. I think this might be Dennis Leary's first theatrical movie. I could be wrong. It was made the same year as Demolition Man. And I'm not really sure which one came out first. I think Judgment Day came out before Demolition Man. And, Dennis Leary, back in the day, he was always known for like the quick insults and stuff. And you don't really get that. And this movie is more saved for the Demolition Man character that he has in this one and that one. However, I will say Dennis Leary does a bang-up job in this movie, playing like the gang leader, the villain of this movie. He's very psychotic. I believe he's very believable as the villain. Does a great job portraying this character. And then, of course, Emilio Estevez. He's like my favorite character back from the 80s and 90s. Okay, not my favorite, but he's like one of those actors I really enjoyed watching back in the 80s and early 90s. And he does a really good job in this movie. And then, of course, Cuba Gooding Jr., this is before he started doing all the comedy stuff, does a fantastic job. He did this one, and he has Boys in the Hood, which he does a fantastic job in that movie as well. And then, of course, he was great in radio as well. Before he started, I don't know, he started doing comedy stuff like Rat Race and I don't know. And then for some reason, somehow his stardom kind of dropped. But he's still a really good actor. He does a great performance in this movie. And like I said, this movie is really believable. You got these group of friends want to go to a boxing match. They get caught in like a traffic jam. Everybody hates traffic jams, right? So they decide they're going to veer off and try to go around this big traffic jam because they're missing the boxing game and end up witnessing this murder and getting chased down. So it's one of those kind of movies where instead of happening down south in the good old Hicks back in the backwoods, you got these guys, in a major city, probably up north, and this bad side town plays the role of being out there in the woods down there in the good old southern part of the United States. And they're just basically trying to run away from these villains. And they're kind of coping with each other too. They're a tight group of friends, but there are some underlines there where some friends don't really get along with the other friends. Like they don't really get along with Emily's brother because he's kind of like a prankster and stuff. And not only that, but I think he borrows money and doesn't pay people back. So he's not really a good guy. So, they needed an extra dude. He invites him to come along because he's his brother, and it feels like, his brother needs some good company. So you kind of got that relationship going on too. I think they've really played the friends and how guys interact with each other. Very believable, very accurate, in my opinion. Looking at my groups here, and you do have a contrast between the two groups where, like I said, Emilio Estevez's friends, they're all working together to survive. They do have some bickering, but they compromise. They listen to each other's opinions to work as a team to escape. Well, then you have Dennis Leary's group. Same amount of people. I think both sides have 4 guys apiece. But Dennis Leary's more authoritarian. It's his way or the highway. While you got the group of friends, if somebody gets hurt, they're trying to get them together, trying to help him along. Dennis Leary's more likely to cut you off and kill you if you don't do what he says. If you disappoint him, he is going to cut ties with you. And then, I'll say sorry here. And then I did find, reading my notes here, that Cuba Gooding Jr. Spoiled. It's about a 37-year-old movie, though, so not too much of a spoiler here. Cuba Gooding's death, I felt was good. Cuba Gooding's death, I felt like it was a little cheesy as he kept pulling the trigger. I think at that scene, been a while since I watched this. He keeps trying to shoot the pistol, but it's empty. It's like, dude, am I remembering that death right? Anyways, I just felt like Cuba Gooding Jr. was a little cheesy, kind of too comical, too movie-like. But the movie is pretty serious other than that. But if you're going to die in a movie, you want a memorable death. That's something where people's going to be like, okay, whatever, buddy. What's going on there? But overall, really enjoyed Judgment Night. You can watch it on Amazon Prime if you watched it way back then and you vaguely remember it and you want to revisit it. Go ahead. I will recommend this one, Judgment Night. I think it had very good reviews back then. A lot of people said it was very cliche, like the critics, very cliche. But if you're a regular Joe like me and you, we don't care about cliche as long as it's very entertaining, and it is an entertaining movie. It's very suspenseful, and it's one of those what-if movies, and a cautionary tale of taking a wrong turn. Overall, I think it's really good. And Emilio Estevez does a fantastic job in this, as well as everybody else. For Dennis Leary, he's a comedian, and he hits this serious role really well, playing this villain. And then I guess, I want to say the Demolition Man character isn't too far off on this, but the Demolition Man character is more compassionate, unlike his character in this movie. Anyways, have a great day. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. And until next time, bye.